On this episode of Locked On Angels, the Halos win 6 of 7 at home, and John and I are going to tell you why we're hyped on this team that's 11 games under 500. It's time to get locked on with Mike and John, and this is Locked On Angels.
You are Locked On Angels, your daily Los Angeles Angels podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, it is. Yes, we are. Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. You can find us anywhere you get your podcast, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, and SiriusXM by searching Locked On Angels. And if you'd like to give back to the Super Halo Bros for all this Super Halo content, here's some things that you can do. Leave us a rate and a review on Apple Podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. And if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe and become a Locked On Everydayer. And whether you're watching or listening, come over to YouTube, leave a comment. It's one of the best ways to get in touch with us and be a part of the conversation. And today's show is brought to you by Tax Network USA. Did you know that it's never too late to resolve your tax issues with the IRS? You don't have to wait. Reduce your tax debt right now and get help from a team of licensed tax professionals. Just call 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/lockedon.
Happy Monday to you, and thank you for being here for this episode of Locked On Angels, where it's your team every day. You've got the Frisch Brothers here with you, a.k.a. the Super Halo Bros. My name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
Mike, it's our third season here at Locked On Angels, and of course, we're longtime fans of this team. Watched a lot of Halo baseball. We're here 5 days a week for you, talking Angels baseball all through the week. Just want to do a little plug. Started a Substack for Super Halo Bros and the Angels. So you can find that in the episode description. There's a link down there for you. And check it out. We did the ultimate Angels trade deadline guide to talk about every player they should trade, could trade, and must trade, and even some potential trade partners as well. Now that we've got the business out of the way, we're recapping all 4 games against the Tigers. Mike, get us started with a how should I put this? A big heartfelt moment for our guy out there, Davis Daniel. I mean, good grief, dude. That was such a great start. And I felt so proud because we had him over the offseason and we've been tooting the horn of the Davis Daniel train for a long time, right?
Yeah. Thursday's game was a great game. 5-0 Angels won. John, do you happen to know Davis Daniel's age off the top of your head?
27.
Okay. So 44. I could say I'm a proud papa then, right? You could be a proud brother. I'm going to be a proud papa. It was so great to watch him pitch so well. And you and I were texting back and forth. John and I hung on every pitch, and we felt like a family member was out there because he's been on the show. He's a locked on player, Hall of Famer. John, how about 8 innings, 4 hits, 0 runs, 8 strikeouts, and 99 pitches? Could have gone back out there in the 9th inning, but Wash said, hey, I wanted him to leave with his head held high.
Yeah.
The guy pitched so incredibly well, Johnny. And the reason for that was because 22 out of 26 of his pitches were first pitch strikes. Yeah. He went 26 batters, 22 of them first pitch strikes. And the number of changeups that he threw the Tigers kept them off balance. And he had this 93-mile-an-hour fastball. He said, I think we threw 20 to 25 of them last night, talking about Thursday, which is more than I've ever thrown. So throwing that pitch, the changeup, with confidence in the big leagues, that pitch can only get better after gaining some confidence at this level.
I was really excited to see him get this start, Mike, and part of that is the results, obviously, but talking to him over the offseason, we did a 2-part episode, and I posted those on our socials if you want to check them out, but we did a 2-part episode. One of the things he talked about was the fact that he's already been emphasizing first pitch strikes, like when he was pitching last year. And so for Barry Enright and crew to come in and, make that the pitching gospel this season, it was great to hear that he was already working on that. And number 2, the reason why he pitched so effectively is the arm slot and the tunneling of the ball. He doesn't throw a fastball high that he missed above the zone and then throw his fastball in a different spot. He plays the changeup off of the fastball that missed. And so it looks like the same pitch coming out of the hand, coming toward the hitter. And so the fact that he understands that and very clearly explained that to us last time we spoke was just obvious in the start. And so I think that's why he had so much success. I think, Mike, he's already got it. Like, he's already ahead of some of the other guys that have needed to be told to throw first pitch
He
strikes.
certainly has the mentality, and that's what you're hoping for. And that, again, was why Wash said they brought him up. This guy was throwing strikes in the minor leagues, and that's why they were confident in what he could do in the major leagues. Daniel also said after the game, it's been a long time waiting around, been here a couple of times and not able to pitch. I told my wife this morning that I didn't sleep great. It felt like Christmas morning. Once I got to the park, I felt like I calmed down. Everything felt good. You remember when he was on the show, John, he said that long outing where he had to come in and got his first major league win.
Yeah.
Kind of felt like a start, but he likes the routine. And so you saw him so comfortable on Thursday.
Yeah.
So Angels, give him all of the routine because he looked fantastic against the Tigers.
Absolutely, he did. And it was great. Not only that, they came away with a 5-0 victory in this one, Mike. So the scoring got started for the Angels in the second inning. Miguel Sano hit a home run, his only hit from the weekend, right? I think that's the only thing he did.
Struggled.
Willie Calhoun got a home run in the fourth inning. Zach Neto doubled in the fifth. Nolan Shawnuel hit an RBI single. Then later on, Luis Rengifo gets in on the home run parade. And we joked about it because everybody was like, man, look at Rengifo. And Talking Baseball said, where's Rengifo going to play in August and all this stuff. And you and I sat back, folded our arms and said, that's interesting. Why is that so interesting, Mike?
Because we've been talking a lot about Rengifo on this show in the 3 years we've been here. And a lot of the narrative has been, well, he's just a garbage guy. That's when he puts up the numbers.
Garbage time. Yeah.
And you have been somebody that has really emphasized if he gets consistent at bats, consistent plate appearances, watch out. Well, Johnny, if I'm looking at the numbers correctly, who's leading Major League Baseball in batting average by the end of the weekend? Oh, Luis Rengifo hitting 317. You know who's number two? Some $700 million guy with the Dodgers. Rengifo is leading the majors in batting average. That consistent playing time has been a gift to him. And, high five to him that he is actually taking advantage of it and playing well, looking strong defensively at third base, stealing a lot of bags. He's got 21 now on the season.
Yeah.
This guy looks like somebody that could really be a key piece to what the Angels do in the future.
Absolutely. And that's why I hope they extend him. He's just now entering his prime years of right now he's 27. You got 28, 29, 30 coming up. So that gives you a good long time with Rengifo and maybe the chance to be competitive with him still around, maybe toward, 2026, 2027, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
If not sooner, next year, whatever they plan on doing. All that to say, Mike, it's interesting to see how much more he's emphasized contact because Wash has been emphasizing contact for Luis Rengifo. He's hitting the ball to all fields. He doesn't have as many home runs as he did last year, but that's a good thing. He hit his sixth in this one, and that's a good thing because him not swinging for the fences has resulted in more contact, better batting average, going the opposite way, still getting singles and doubles and all that stuff. So his slugging percentage is still really strong. It's just he's not trying to swing for the fences. And Mike, from the left side, where traditionally you and I have said not doing that great, he's close to 300 hitting from the left side of the plate. And then on the right side of the plate, last time I looked, he was hitting 388 off of lefties. So just a huge career year for Rengifo.
And the reason why that left-handed at bat is going so well is because he's going the opposite way. How many times have you seen him slap the ball over the third baseman or slap the ball over the shortstop's head and then end up with a double? And if he gets it first because it's a single, it ends up being kind of a double because he's stealing bags this year. And so Luis Rengifo, I think, is making a great push for the All-Star game. I would love to see him there because he's been such a key component to this Angel team so far and to this win streak that they experienced the last few days.
Seems like every now and then we know what we're talking about when it comes to these things. He just needed consistency. And
nerd's gonna nerd, right?
We had 2 years of data, 22 and 23, that said, hey, you know what? He does pretty well when he's in there every day as opposed to every other day or every third or fourth day like he was for a while. And the reason why is, Mike, the Rendon and Trout injuries happened a lot earlier than they usually do this season. So Rengifo went from, they needed him out of necessity, and now his bat is a necessity in this lineup. So it's great to see that happen. Of course, Ben Joyce got the final 3 outs after Davis Daniels' stellar start and took them to the end of the game. The Halos won 5-0. Ben Joyce looking awesome out there.
Looking great.
And it was cool to just say, hey, it was Davis Daniel and then Ben Joyce, not Matt Moore or Luis Garcia or Carlos Estevez. It was just 2 young guys who really want to make an impact on this team. So that was exciting to see as well. Hey, thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. The Angels are playing the A's in Oakland on Tuesday, 6:40 Pacific time. Jose Soriano's back, and he's starting. You can catch every pitch of the Angels' hometown broadcast on Sirius XM with the SXM app. All you got to do is search Angels. Coming up on Locked On Angels, Logan O'Hoppe is endearing himself to this fan base, and we're going to tell you why in just a minute.
Everydayers want to tell you about Prize Picks. It's America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 5 million members. And it's the most fun and exciting way to get in on all of the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You can win up to 100 times your money with Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You could turn $10 into $1,000. You just need to pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you're locked in.
That's what's great is you can pick any player any day. Listen, on my regular fantasy team, I've got Tatis on the IL. I've got Schwarber on the IL. I've got Max Muncy on the IL. It's ridiculous, Mike.
Yeah. So this is kind of a nice reprieve for you. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, because I'm stuck with them.
That's why you got to download the Prize Pick app today and then use our promo code LOCKEDONMLB. You'll get a first deposit match of up to $100. So they're going to just gift you $100, and then you can go do what you do best on Prize Picks. Again, download the app. Our code is LOCKEDONMLB, all one word, all lowercase, for that first deposit match of up to $100. Join Prize Picks today. You can pick more and pick less. It's that easy. And speaking of money, Johnny, we know that tax season can be really, really frustrating. And just because it's over doesn't mean that the IRS is not going to continue to come after you for unfiled taxes. They can garnish your wages, they can levy your bank accounts, and they can even seize your property. So don't let it happen. Why not? The Angels are playing well, and you want to be taken care of. So here's why you need Tax Network USA. They have over 14 years of experience at A+ with the Better Business Bureau, and they're going to go to bat for you and help you to fight the IRS. In fact, they have saved their clients, get this, over $1 billion in tax debt. So that, first of all, is just a scary stat that there's that much tax debt, because taxes are difficult, and that's why you need Tax Network USA. So whether you owe taxes or you have complicated matters that require planning, or you use Prize Picks and you hit a parlay and you're super excited about the resource you got, use Tax Network USA. Here's how you can get a hold of them: 1-800-549-1000, or visit their website, tnusa.com/lockedon.
This is the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. And everydayers, if you haven't checked it out already, you got to check out Locked On Sports Today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed just for you to bring you the biggest stories across the sports world with analysis, news, and opinions from the great hosts of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. And speaking of your team, you can catch the Angels against the A's on Tuesday night in Oakland at 6:40 Pacific time. Catch every pitch of the Angels' hometown broadcast on Sirius XM with the SXM app. Just search Angels.
Let's go back to Friday. The Angels got a 5-2 victory, but it didn't look good at first because Zach Plesac was pitching, and he had 2 really good innings, looked really, really good, and then completely fell apart in the third inning.
Yeah.
Through 19 pitches, 16 of them were balls, walked 4 consecutive batters in that inning after retiring 8 in a row. Very different than the night before than Davis Daniel, right?
What's funny about that is how much the guys on the broadcast, it was Gooby and Wayne talking about, Gooby and Patrick talking about, like, he must have watched Davis Daniel the night before because he's doing everything right in this first 2 innings, and then it all fell apart right after that.
Yeah, 2 2/3 innings for Plesac, just 1 hit, 2 earned runs, 4 walks, all in the third, which really got him in trouble, and then 3 Ks. He left in the third. Jose Marte came in, got the final batter out. So what went wrong? Well, according to Zach Plesac, he said he couldn't grip the ball. He said, I was cruising, and then with 2 outs, my hands got sweaty, and I couldn't get a grip, and I was squeezing it tight, and it just kept sliding out of my hands. So haven't heard that before.
Yeah, get a grip, dude.
Well, he got sent away because after
the hook.
After the game, he got sent down, and Andrew Wentz was brought up to the Major League roster. But Johnny, that meant that the Angels were going to have to rely on the bullpen, and they turned out to be pretty good, right?
The bullpen was good, Michael.
Again.
He looked upon the bullpen and said, this is good. All right. Marte went 1 in the third inning with 1 hit and 1 strikeout, came in with the bases loaded and got out of it for Zach Plesac. So Matt Moore came in after that, had 1 good, clean inning. Strickland came in for 2 innings, got 2 strikeouts. He's pitching better lately as well. And then Luis Garcia pitched the 8th inning, which was also a clean inning. So props to the bullpen for getting through and taking care of those middle innings for them.
Yeah, Angels got the scoring started first in this game, bottom of 1 after a Shonowell single. Rengifo hits another home run, a 2-run home run. The Tigers got a run back in the third. They tied the game at 2, and then the Angels squandered a scoring chance in the fourth with runners at second and third. Moniak struck out. Hasn't looked really good.
He's doing that a lot lately, hasn't he?
Yeah, it hasn't looked good at all. Game was tied at this point. They had another chance in the 7th with Adele at second base, and Guillorme struck out. 2 strikes were out of the zone, and Guillorme complained about that.
Yeah, I saw the umpire scorecard the next day. It was absolutely ridiculous.
That's your favorite social media page, I think.
Yeah, no kidding. Support them. Give them all your money.
Yeah.
In the bottom of the 8th, Rengifo and Ward both singled with 1 out. Kevin Pillar had the chance to give the Halos the lead, but he struck out on a fastball on the outside corner. And then with 2 outs, Logan O'Hoppe comes up, hits a 3-run home run, and gives the Halos a 5-2 lead. It was 418 feet out to the rock pile. Such a clutch at bat, such a clutch moment for Logan O'Hoppe. So that was huge. It was off Shelby Miller, which is funny because he's a reliever that I really wanted over the offseason because he had such a good year out of the pen with the Dodgers last year. But O'Hoppe is second to Lance Parrish, Mike, in home runs by a catcher before the All-Star break. And it was his second go-ahead home run in June. He spoke about it after the game. He said, I picture moments like that in the offseason. I really tried to feel that moment as much as I could. I blanked out and took a swing. Well, you took a swing on the right one, my friend.
We'll continue to talk about O'Hoppe because we'll also talk about Saturday's game. But in the 9th inning of Friday's game, Estevez comes in, got the Tigers easily 1-2-3. The bullpen, Johnny, 6 in the 3rd innings, 1 hit, no walks, 3 Ks. Great response after Plesac fell apart. And it was the first time this season that the Angels pitching allowed 2 or fewer hits. They won 5-2, and at this point, they had won 5 games in a row, and Estevez talked about that. He said the atmosphere at Angel Stadium the last few days has been amazing. Every time the fans show up and give us support, it feels amazing. We really like to see the Big A nice and full, and Saturday, Kevin Pillar said the same thing. He's like, just thank you so much for coming out. So I appreciate that the players are recognizing that fans are showing up. And speaking of Saturday, John, what happened in that game?
Yeah, the Angels won on a walk-off 6-5 in the 10th inning. The Angels played catch-up the entire game. Not ketchup on your hot dog, but catch up. They had to catch up. Catsup, as our grandma used to say. Yeah, they were down 1-0, and the Halos nickel and dimed their way to get 2 runs in the 3rd. There was a runner scored on a wild pitch. There was an RBI ground out from Willie Calhoun. The Tigers tied it and then took the lead in the 4th. They added 2 more runs in the 6th on a home run from Jake Rogers. He is Griffin Canning's sworn enemy, Mike.
Yeah.
he has torn up Griffin Canning in the past. Canning's night ended at 6 innings pitched, 6 hits, 5 runs, 4 earned, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. It wasn't sharp, but it did feel like the typical Canning start where he struggles early and then kind of works his way through. He did, of course, kind of give up runs all through his start in this one, but he did have a great play in the field in the 2nd inning. He fielded a bunt, threw it off his back foot, and got the runner at first. And that was like the first of many great plays on this night.
Yeah.
Why don't you continue our look at Saturday night?
Well, it was interesting because when they were down, the runs they were down 5-2, there was a part of me that thought like, all right, we're kind of seeing the old Angels again. And then suddenly, John, they got 2 back in the 7th, both on an RBI double by Taylor Ward, who's fine, by the way. We'll talk about Sunday's game in the next segment. Then in the bottom of the 8th, Logan O'Hoppe does it again.
In the 8th.
This guy, first pitch swinging, hits a solo home run, stayed down on a breaking ball. And Johnny, he's endearing himself to this Angel fan, and I think to all Angel fans. This is his 3rd late inning home run this month. And then I loved this stat from Locked On Hall of Famer TBW. Logan O'Hoppe leverage splits according to Baseball Reference. So low leverage, John, and medium leverage. 268, a 324 on base, and a 412 slugging. High leverage situations, 294, 321 on base. Listen to this, 725 slugging percentage.
Woo! That is
unbelievable, right? And so if you have a high 400, low 500, that's very respectable, right? Like that's really good. 725 in high leverage situations. Unbelievable that this guy is coming through the way that he is.
Yeah. And for the viewers at home who want to break that down, it's essentially 72.5% of the time he hits something more than a single. So double, triple, or a home run. And so that's his slugging percentage right there. Now, Carlos Estevez entered in the 9th, got 3 outs again. The final out was a caught stealing. It was a pitch outside, and O'Hoppe threw it off balance. The throw was in the base path in front of second, and Guillorme catches it while jumping, has the runner go under his legs, and he's up in the air, and he tags him like on the butt, Mike, and he was able to get the out. It was crazy. So that was the final out of that inning. Was just a crazy play between Logan O'Hoppe and Luis Guillorme, and they definitely had themselves like a bro moment right there. Like,
absolutely.
Let's go.
Big old smile on their faces. It was great to see. And then you mentioned Ben Joyce looking good this weekend. Well, 10th inning, he comes in, gets the Tigers 1-2-3. Neto makes an incredible play as on the final out. Great defensive play. It was deep in the hole. He grabs it. And I mean, he had the fastest hand. He looked like Ozzie Smith. His hands were so fast when he grabbed it. And then bottom 10, Ward's the ghost runner. Guillorme connects on a great bunt. Congratulations, buddy. You finally got the bunt down. Ward moves to third. And then they bring in an outfielder to play infield. The Tigers do.
Yeah.
And so there's only 2 guys out there. And Kevin Pillar, first pitch swinging, slaps a single to left. And the Angels win the game. At this point, it was 6 wins in a row.
I got to say, too, we can't gloss over the fact that the ghost runner against Ben Joyce in the 10th inning had moved over to third. And Zach Neto, his incredible play kept the game or kept the Angels from losing the tie game that would have put the Tigers up 6-5. But yes, Kevin Pillar comes up and is able to get that single, and it was all it took to send the Halos home happy with 6 in a row. Mike, in just a minute, we're going to talk about why we're hyped for the team, but also how Sunday had all of us come back down to earth. We'll talk about that coming right up.
Well, obviously, Johnny and I love sports. We wouldn't be doing a podcast about baseball if we didn't love sports. And we love them so much, we never want it to stop. It's why we love FanDuel, because as sports kind of wind down at certain points during the year, or when there's like the All-Star break and there's not much going on, FanDuel allows you to stay engaged and stay involved. All you have to do is open up the app and then dream up any bets at any time whenever you're in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all of their customers with a boost or bonus daily. So you got to download the app and you got to check out what boost or bonus actually is, because it's something pretty fantastic. Something for everybody, every day with FanDuel all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com/lockedon and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel is the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball.
Mike, Sunday's game looked like a stinker, and it looked like the Angels had come back down to earth. They did lose 7-6, but you could have told me that they were going to lose 7-1.
Yeah.
But then they try to make this incredible comeback at the end. They just fell short. And in one sense of the matter, I am glad they came back down to earth. And I'll tell you why after we recap this game. But entering this game, Tyler Anderson led all MLB pitchers with 4.0 WAR, B WAR, so baseball reference WAR this season. He also ranked 5th in the American League with a 2.63 ERA and was 7th with a 2.09 batting average against him. Over his last 8 starts, he's pitched to a 2.34 ERA, 50 innings pitched, 13 earned runs, and he's allowed exactly 1 run in 6 of his 8 contests. So, of course, he would struggle in this one, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
As we need the big win to go 7 in a row, 2 sweeps in a row.
Yeah.
Tyler Anderson struggles. 4 2/3 innings pitched, 7 hits, 6 earnies, 1 walk, and 2 Ks. 1 inside the park home run that, okay, you can't really put that on Anderson when Mickey Moniak didn't make the play that he should have out there. Mike, is this Tyler Anderson's fielding independent pitching, the amount of guys he lets get on base? I know he only had 1 walk in this one, but to surrender the 6 earned runs, they're just putting it down on Tyler Anderson right now. So are his underlying numbers catching up to him? What do you say?
Yes, and it's time to pivot. It's time to have a different strategy. It's time to approach the batters in a different way because he was fooling them, and the numbers prove that. He was fooling them. He was keeping them at bay. Think about somebody's trying to get into your house and you're holding the door, right? And you're having success in holding the door. That's the picture.
Does that happen to you all the time?
That's the best example I could come up with.
That's a relatable anecdote here? You're a pastor. What are you doing?
I used it all on Sunday. Sorry.
So
he's holding everybody at bay, right? And then they're starting to creep through. Think like Avengers Infinity War. Right?
Okay.
When they're in Wakanda and they have the force field around and they're slowly, the bad guys are slowly starting to get through the force field, right? Then finally they had to open it up because they were going to go behind them. Right. This is kind of what's happening with Tyler Anderson.
Okay, now I track.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
you got to pivot, you got to adjust because they're starting to figure you out. By the way, the fans that are saying should have traded Tyler Anderson a long time ago, you need to know ball. And ball means that you need to know that you wait until the trade deadline. They're not going to trade anybody now. They're going to wait until the trade deadline. That's just how it works. And they're going to get a better trade, even if Tyler Anderson's numbers are not super terrific like they were at the beginning of the year. If they decide to trade him, they are going to get, I think, something pretty reasonable. And it's not going to be better if they trade him now versus if they trade him at the deadline. It actually will possibly be better if they trade him at the deadline. So don't rush it.
You're going to be more desperate around the trade deadline, right? These teams are going to I got to get to him before somebody else does.
Yeah.
I think, that's kind of the idea there.
Yeah. You don't want to rush it. And so that's why they haven't done anything. And Anderson still has a couple of starts before the trade deadline. So I anticipate him adjusting, him and Barry Enright looking at things. And it wasn't that he pitched terribly awful in this game. He did get dinky dude. He did have a lot of soft contact, but the hits were a lot. The earned runs were a lot. The number that you got to pay attention to with Tyler Anderson is 1 walk. So he wasn't missing the zone. He was just getting too much of the zone and the Tigers were finding it. And then there was a couple of those ridiculous plays like in the outfield when it hits the ball and Moniak doesn't have anybody backing him up.
Yeah, where was Ward on that one?
Everybody was just kind of watching it happen. I think Moniak anticipated somebody backing him up because when he turned around, he looked around and went, I need to hustle here.
Nobody here. Yeah.
So that was a bummer. And then you did mention, John, that the Angels attempted a comeback in the 9th inning, and that was kind of exciting. I was hoping that maybe something would come of that.
It was exciting because if you think about the fact that, good grief, 6 earned runs here, and the Angels are trying to get back into this one, it's another one of those moments of, hey, they had some heroics, and if it wasn't 7-1 for most of the game, It could have actually been pretty interesting. Even if it was like 6-1, they could have tied it up. And so it just goes to show that, all the difference in this game was the one run that extra that scored because of the Moniak misplay or Tyler Anderson, that sort of thing. So Neto hits his 11th home run. It's a 3-run shot with 2 outs. After Neto's home run, Moniak got on base with a single, and then Joe Adell hits a 2-run home run to make it a 1-run game. Unfortunately, that's all they could do as Nolan Schanuel was the last out of the game. But the Angels finished June 15-11, 11-5 at home this month. So nice little winning record this month, and getting back some home wins because they disappointed so many people for so long. They were 6-1 on the homestand, 36-47 overall wins and losses. They're starting a 3-game series against the A's on Tuesday. They just played them, and so maybe they can do another sweep. We'll see what happens. Mike, you said earlier that we're hyped on this team. Tell us why.
We're hyped because you're seeing the development of the young guys right in front of your eyes, specifically Logan O'Hoppe being clutch and Zach Neto being clutch and playing great defense and being an offensive stud, helping this team to score some runs. You're seeing the young guys carry this team. That's why we're hyped. That's why a team 11 games under 500 has got us excited. Now, we're not so excited or so delusional that we think that they're going to actually go anywhere this season.
Sure.
But this is what we've been wanting, and this is now what we're seeing. This team is putting it together, and I think that we'll start to see some of these winning streaks over the next couple of weeks and months. And it'll be interesting to see what happens once they put these streaks together against these bad teams, how they play against the better teams, because they've always been about this close, Johnny. And so to see that maybe entering into those games with some confidence after playing the A's and the Tigers and the Rockies and the White Sox, that'll be fun to see. So we're hyped because the young stars are developing.
It's funny, for a lot of our tenure here on Locked On Angels, our biggest criticism toward us, and we respect it, is, oh, you guys are too positive, you're too hyped, it's too much hopium on the show.
Yeah.
And there certainly have been reasons for that. But I could not believe, Mike, was it Friday night or Saturday night? I think we had a 5-game win streak on Friday night, and I'm hosting karaoke as I usually do, but I'm also on Twitter responding to our everydayers and stuff. And I had to stave off so many people saying, if they just win this series against the Tigers and sweep them, and then they sweep the A's next week, and then they could sweep the Cubs. I'm like, hold on a second.
You were the gatekeeper?
Let's all come back down to earth here. Yeah, no kidding. I was the one telling
people. That is
people.
not a role that we've ever played. People were trying to break into your house?
They were trying to break into my house. Yeah, it was. They were on the hype train, and I get it. Winning's fun, and winning 6 in a row is certainly fun. In a sense, I'm I'll say this. I'm kind of glad they lost the game in the way that they did.
Yeah.
That is to say, they tried to mount a comeback in the end, and it was guys like Neto and Adele who really needed hits this weekend, and great to see them come through right there. And they almost won. They almost came back. It was just short. Sometimes that's baseball. So I liked the way they tried to get back into it. I'm also okay with the fact that they lost, because I think maybe we can all kind of come down from that and realize that, hey, you know what? They're not going to go on this incredible tear. Last time they won 10 games in a row, Mike, was 2014. And that was the best record in baseball team and the playoff team and everything. So I just think that, yes, it's a lot of fun. Winning's fun. The Angels should still do the right thing and sell the players that they need to at the trade deadline.
Johnny, I don't want to come down from this cloud. Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. The Angels play the A's in Oakland on Tuesday, 6:40 Pacific time. You can catch every pitch of the Angels' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Angels.
It's taking me all this time.
I think I said it wrong. I don't want to come back down from this cloud. There it is.
There it is. You got it. Listen, it has taken all this time for us to be excited about Angels baseball.
Right,
so I totally understand. Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. You guys can give us a follow on Twitter at Locked On Angels, and connect with Mike and I on Super Halo Bros on Twitter and Instagram at Super Halo Bros, I should say. And check out the new Substack in the episode description. There's a link down there for you. Would love to get your feedback and maybe your email subscription. So every time that there's a new article that comes out, you'll get that in your inbox. Hey, Mike, what do we have on deck for Tuesday's show?
Got some updates. Trout, Rendon, Patrick Sandoval, and Reed Detmers. We're going to talk about all of them tomorrow on Locked On Angels.
All right, friends. We hope you'll come back and join us for that. Until then, my name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
Thanks for being here with us, everybody, and we'll see you back here on Tuesday.
I'm going to go have a bowl of honeycomb. When was the last time you had honeycomb?
And are you going to listen to It's Taking Me All This Time?